Fear not, denizens, Parade is here, aka the bringer of rain, aka father of the sun and sea, aka king of the core. And before I introduce my illustrious guest, this is the Core Creators Podcast, where I interview content creators across the internet, pick their brains about their creative process, and we'll get together to learn a little bit more about themselves. And if you haven't recognized him yet, on the side of the screen, if you're watching, this is someone who I've followed for a very long time. Etsy seller, if you didn't know, YouTuber, prolific on Instagram, the new addition to the Rogues of Mandalore, creator,
yes,
and commander of Burgundy Squad. I have none other than Billy of MakerMaddox. Oh my goodness, Billy, say hello.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for asking me to do this. I know that you're just getting started, and I was really excited to be on here. So I'm glad that we can make this happen. But it's me.
So humble, so humble. I should also say that too. I have so many questions for you, and I feel like you're such beloved in the Star Wars community. If you guys aren't familiar with the cosplaying every day, that's kind of how I ran into you, like the Disney bounding. You were Disney bounding at work. There's so many things. There's so many things. I just want to start. Let's start from the beginning. So where does this journey start for you in your mind? Like, did it start with crafting? Did it start with the Disney bounding?
Well, it definitely started on YouTube. I think you said you had seen some of the videos. And I was I got into the whole maker world of YouTube and watching some of the bigger channels. Like I'm completely blanking on their names.
Sure,
but
of course.
Everyone will know.
Yeah.
Everyone will know. I'm kind of off YouTube, but not for any negative reason. Just because whatever. But so I got into that world, and I wanted to make stuff. I saw people making these tutorials of things, and the most wonderful thing is when you can encounter someone that has the ability to make it feel accessible to everyone.
Right.
So that was not only my inspiration, but also what got me into it and made me want to make stuff with my hands. So I think that was the beginning of the journey, making props and making scratch built lightsaber hilts and repainting Nerf blasters, and then it kind of developed into something else.
So you were just inspired by people doing that, and you're like, oh, I should just put my hand in and try it as well?
Yeah, I just wanted to make stuff. I've always made stuff, and I think for a long period of time, there was a dark ages of making stuff, and I wanted to do that. There was something about mimicking. With anything that mimicking weathering, mimicking wear and tear, there was something that really drew me to that, and I wanted to do something that was a little bit destructive, but with a creative spin to it. You know what I mean? It's supposed to look like it's destroyed, but you're actually, putting down layers of paint and stuff.
Right. Yeah, I know with some of your YouTube videos, you're trying to tell that story, right? That's how I do my weathering too. You're was this, did I fall? Did I get scratched and all that stuff? I think that's so cool. I think that's so cool. I love how you kind of push that too into your crafting. Did it, was your inspiration start with Star Wars, or did it start somewhere else?
Actually the first maker channel that I found it has nothing to do with cosplay, nothing to do with, props or anything like that. It's a maker named Jimmy DiResta.
Okay.
And that's the name of his channel, Jimmy DiResta. An incredibly creative and brilliant man, right? My claim to fame with Jimmy is that I once bullied him into agreeing to be my father. I screenshotted the comment exchange, and I was I forget exactly what I said, but it was no pressure. All I want, I'm not gonna ask you for pocket money. I have my own car. I have my own house, so I'm not gonna ask to borrow the car. All I want is to forget to send you a Father's Day hard every year. Just say yes, lie to me if you have to. That part
Right,
I
right.
remember. I was like, just say yes, lie to me if you have to. And he was like, yes.
Yeah. It's like, sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I used to live, because I used to live in New York, and I used to live, I want to say maybe 3 blocks away from his like famed studio, his workshop,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Which was in a basement and stuff. But I didn't find his channel until after I had moved away from New York. So I was like, can't believe I was right there. I was right there. You know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so I idolized Jimmy DiResta. The first video that I found of his was he made a birdhouse that looks like a Brooklyn brownstone building. Incredible.
Wow.
I think it was on the Make channel. It was on his as well, but I think
Yeah.
Make had like sponsored him to do it or something like that. He's been huge forever.
Yeah.
And he's been on TV and stuff. He had a Netflix show
Oh. Yeah.
called something where he's making like kids like dream makes come true.
Uh-huh.
I forget what it's called.
You're just like, that's my dad. That's my dad.
That's my dad. Yeah, I'm like, that's that guy there. That's my dad. He's not my father.
No.
But yeah, so it was through Jimmy DiResta that I was like, oh, like he's also like one of those people that make things feel accessible, even though he makes, I mean, incredible things that I feel like should be studied in like design courses at university. There's one table specifically that doesn't leave my mind, and I'm like, this should be in a design book. So he makes these incredible things, but makes it feel accessible. And I was like, it kind of inspires you to like, oh, I think I could do this, you know?
Yeah,
but at the same time, you're like, I'm probably going to lose a hand, but I could probably do it.
Right.
You know?
Right. Like if I just get a table saw and just like goggles, I think I should be.
Table saw, some goggles, and then I don't know, I'll find some wood somewhere. I don't know. There's a tree right there. I could build a table.
Yeah, those 4 legs and a flat thing. That's easy. That's light work.
So that was the beginning, and then I got obsessed with watching them to the point where he did these videos that is just him in the workshop working, so I would listen to it to go to sleep.
Right. Oh.
On some like ASMR stuff. So it's just like saws going, sanding, a bit of tapping here and there, blah blah blah. And then from there I was, I just sort of maneuvered that world and found people making props, found people, all that stuff, and I was like, yeah, okay, I want to try, I want to do stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Where does the bounding every day come from then?
That was a series of events.
Please take us through the journey. That's why we're here.
The journey starts 2020.
Oh, okay.
COVID. Okay.
I don't know what that is. What is that?
I don't know, right? It's this thing that happened. It's sort of this thing that happened like in the world. Do you know the world?
Yeah.
So it started then. For COVID, I moved my mom in with me, just to keep her safe.
Sure.
Keep her safe, do all the stuff for her. So I'm the only one that's going out of the house and stuff like that. So she doesn't have to deal with any of that stuff, right? I'm an older gentleman. She is an older ma'am, whatever. She's an older lady. So I didn't want her going out touching stuff. It's also once parents get to that age, it's like you have to be a parent. So you look both ways before you cross the street. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're gonna slip on that. Like, get down from there. Like, you're that person to your parents. So
the roles swap.
Yeah, I didn't want her going out and me having to be like, did you wash your hands? Like, don't put that in your mouth. Like, what do you mean you ate a grape at the checkout? Like so I didn't want any of that stuff to happen. So I moved her in with me, right? But guess what? That kind of killed my video making
Oh,
mojo,
sure,
right? Because
sure.
now I was in front of my mom. Like, I can't do that. Even if she's like in the other room, like, you know how it is. You have to be, you have to be lively. You have to be excited,
Right.
to do that stuff, right? Especially when you're doing like a project or like not a tutorial, but when you're making something, you can get like in the weeds of just making a thing. So you have to kind of make it entertaining, make
Right.
it funny a little
Yeah,
bit, right?
yeah.
And I got performance anxiety.
You're like, my mom's
Okay.
here watching me.
She's watching me. I can't do it. I can't do it. I couldn't do it. I tried and I couldn't, right? So that was like, that's what I mean. Like, I was off of YouTube,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
And that was like the end of it. So I had to figure out a way how to get that same thing, right? I didn't stop making stuff.
Right.
I just stopped filming it, which,
Yeah.
guess what? Much more productive.
Well, yeah, you don't have to set
Much
up the
more
lights or the
productive.
camera or the
You don't
narration. You just do it all.
You know what it is? Especially for YouTube. I think for Instagram is a little bit different because you can kind of shoot from the hip and you're just shooting on your phone and stuff. Well, at least I do, right?
Yeah.
But like for YouTube, it was a whole set. Like I had a whole little like corner. I had a
Yeah.
whole little like set or whatever. And by the time you charge your cameras up, make sure the overhead is charged, get out everything that you're going to work on, adjust your lights a little bit. Oh, is it daytime outside? No, okay, extra light because it's nighttime. Like,
Yeah.
and then you sit down and you're like, okay, I'm kind of like tired. I don't want to do anything now.
Right.
So that became an issue, right?
Sure.
As well. So I think much more productive not having to do that. So I
Yeah.
kept making stuff, right? But I still had like an itch, right?
Mm-hmm,
And then so the snowball effect is I'm making more things, which means I'm getting closer to like costuming stuff,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm making more parts, I'm more productive. So I sort of transferred over into like soft goods and like getting interested in that aspect of it. Like you can't make blasters forever, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like how many is too many, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a Mandalorian now, so
Yeah, I'm like,
maybe there
isn't.
isn't too many. Maybe
I was like, I
maybe
just
there's
bought
never
3
too many.
more from Goodwill. To sell.
Yeah, so did I. So did I. I've got one on the way. And I got one the other day that came in. Anyway, so no, I get it. But like, so I started to think about like, so where do I go from here?
Yeah,
Right? And I was
yeah.
like, at some point, this is all gonna be over, and like conventions are gonna be back.
Right,
This, that, and the
right.
other. Let's gear up. Let's start getting ready for that kind of stuff, right? And then it kept getting longer and longer, right? So I think a little bit of the psychological damage that time did to
Sure.
all of us, I
Right,
think.
right.
Where like the normalcy of the world, not to get too heavy, but like
Yeah.
of the normalcy of the world can be stripped away from you at any moment, right? So then I started to think, well, I don't want to. What am I waiting for? I'm waiting for like a convention to dress like this. I'm
Yeah.
waiting for once a year, maybe twice a year to do this thing that I feel like I want to do every day,
Yeah.
right? So once I started to have to get dressed again, right? Because we lived in pajamas during that time, of course, we all did. Once I started to go outside again and go back to the office, I was like, that's it. I'm making the change.
Yeah.
I'm going to little by little slip in more and more. And I think all the while learning more and more of like what works, what doesn't work. I think that was a big experimental time where I was trying a lot of stuff out, and I still am. That's what I do weekly is I'm always trying to combine things together. Does this work? Does this not work?
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it works really well, right?
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
was my first steps into that. And as you said, when we went back to the office, I just said, I'm going to just do this. See what happens. No one ever said anything. No one ever caught me. Why is he wearing 2 belts? I don't know.
Yeah,
Why
who
is he
cares?
Exactly, you know? Why is he wearing a vest over a jacket? Isn't it vest then jacket? Jacket then
Then
vest?
vest? Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
who makes up these rules?
No
You know?
one.
Exactly. So that was the genesis of it.
Okay.
And I think it was a slow rolling kind of thing. And now I'm all in. My whole wardrobe is nothing but pieces that if I really needed to, I can work into a costume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you know
So
it's
I'm
crazy.
normal clothes. Like, look at this shirt.
You know what's crazy is while you were talking about it, that what you were doing and posting it and sharing it, because I was also looking for like Disney bounds, I think at the time,
Yeah.
and I actually completely changed my wardrobe. Not like I don't even wear like graphic tees hardly anymore. I'm like, well, I can wear a black shirt. I wear like more minimal, and then I wear my cargo pants, and then now all my shoes are like boots. Like if I went to and if I'm Disney bounding every day, it's like it's pretty much the same thing. It's like most of my stuff will just fit if I had to go to Galaxy's Edge, that same day. And it's been great because yeah, like I don't even own jeans anymore. It's just like tan cargo pants, gray cargo pants, and I've been leaning towards more of the minimal thing. If you guys don't notice, all my videos I'm either in a black shirt or black long sleeve, but then the accessories, that's the cool part, right? And like I always gotta rock the relic.
There you go.
I got version 2 and then the version 1. I got both. I got both. So I'll promo that. You can find that at Billy's in his merch. The Orbesh relics, the Mandalore relics, the Empire. You have Empire ones now too.
The Empire one, I think I'm down to like 10 of those.
You should probably make some for Tales of the Empire coming up here. Try to promote that. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good idea. I'm sending you one.
Yeah. Perfect. Where does so you talked about going to conventions. Would you call yourself a cosplayer beforehand? Like were you going to conventions and dressing up, or?
I was, but I just wasn't as like fully thought out.
Yeah.
I think I was always, and I'm finding my feet definitely now. But I think I was always more interested in being an original character.
Right. Yeah.
I love Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely, since I was a baby, right?
Yeah.
But I've never connected with a character in a way where I wanted to portray them. Yeah. What I wanted to do was I wanted to sit next to them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think even in the early stages, I would come up, like I would cobble something together and go to a con, and no one would know what the hell I was supposed to be right. Or anything. Back then it was very weird what I would put on, but I tried, and that's the important part.
Yeah.
So I would try a bunch of stuff, and I always wanted to be my own person in that galaxy, right?
Yeah,
so I don't think I would call myself back then a cosplayer as much as I would now.
Yeah.
But I was going to cons and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where does the inception for Burgundy Squad come from? Or Burgundy Squadron? That
was I got to give a shout out to Kate Ryder, our very own Burgundy 3, who is One Scavenger's wardrobe.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Kate to be on the show as well. So will you guys stay tuned?
Great.
Yeah.
She would be fantastic. So I think she once noticed, and this was back when I was doing all that stuff, like going to work. And this was like every time I was in the office, which was like, sometimes 3-4 times a week.
Okay.
Back in that transitional space, and every day was a different look. I never went dressed normal. I was like, if I've got to dress up, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to force it on myself and on these people. Not force, but I wanted to do it. But,
right.
I'm going to do it, right? And they never said anything. So, anyway. So, she noticed that I was wearing, very often, a lot of burgundy. And that it is very true, right? I came from a wardrobe that was almost exclusively black, right? Except for a bit of burgundy. I think I had like a burgundy like zip up hoodie or something like that because it felt like it was a color that was still very black. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't read as much as like red as it does as a
A darker color, darker hue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, so she noticed that I was wearing a lot of burgundy, and the joke was made like what are you, like you're like the leader of the Burgundy Squadron, and I was like, hang on a minute,
That's awesome.
say that again.
Yeah.
and then a long time passed, and I didn't really know like what that was. Was it just gonna be like a group of us like just online as like a little joke thing? And it still kind of is a little bit, not really, but like I'm trying to make
It's a community. It's a community for sure.
More legit.
Yeah, it's a community.
Yeah, but I didn't know if it was what it was gonna be, right? And then eventually I was like, well, I'm inhabiting this world of like denizens and original characters, and we don't have a home, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, we will build that home, and that home will be Burgundy Squadron, right?
Yes, sir.
And I think that's where it came from. Like I wanted like, and I don't know what this means, like, but hopefully eventually it becomes something bigger or something else. But I don't even know what that means. But
Right.
It is a burgeoning costume club, right?
Yeah.
For people that don't have like a home anywhere else, right? Because you can't really submit an OC to any others, right?
Okay.
I guess all the Mandalorian clubs are a little bit different. Those are primarily all OCs, but that's like, you know, a very sort of guideline driven.
Yeah, they have more requirements and things like that. Yeah.
Like where does a like a merchant or a shopkeep or a you know, or where do they go? You know?
Yeah.
So that was the idea, right? And yeah, that's where it came from. I think it's going great. We're on the 13th. Next week will be the 1 year anniversary of like the launch of Burgundy Squadron. That's when the first 5 members got their numbers.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got my patch. my third or fourth one that I have. I mean, I love it. I mean, Burgundy 8, you know. I tried to grab 5, but I think was it mid rim rebel got 5? Who's number 5?
He did get 5.
So he stole 5.
He did get 5.
5 from me.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. He's great. I also have to have him on the pod. I have to reach out to him. No, I think Burgundy Squad is great. I love that. Yeah, there is not really a place for just the denizens of Star Wars to be.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Ferrex Friday thing is great where, you know, people are showing off, you know, what outfits they picked and giving an Andor. I mean, I feel like Andor was such a huge thing, you know. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite Star Wars form of media that we have.
Absolutely, mine.
Yeah, and I'm like, give me season 2, please. I need that. Yeah. I need that so bad. I wanted to ask too with the costuming. So I love the Life in the Rebellion posts where you're saying, hey, recommending this, like here's like 5 boots that I seen, here's some things that you know, some jackets or some vests. I love that because again, I feel like we're all buying stuff on Amazon. We all have the same gloves. We all have the same goggles. And I love that. I love that that you're finding stuff that, you know, you can put outfits together. Do you like buying more new, or do you do any like thrifting where you can kind of put stuff together?
I do. I wish I was. Well, now I live in a place where there's a bit more of that culture. But I was living in Dallas for a while, and there really isn't very much of that there. Right? It's a very like cookie cutter, suburban, big box.
Yeah.
Sprawl. You know.
Yeah.
So people are always buying, you know, that kind of stuff. And that's what's available out there. I prefer, especially now that, you know, when I find something, the first thing I want to do is like cut it up and do something to it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So I would much rather, I'd much rather pick up something for $5 or $10, and then I'd feel a little more free to alter it, to crop it, to, weather it, put a patch on it, something, than if I bought something brand new, you know?
Right.
I'm kind of like that. Like I'm from like a, I'm from a meager family. So if we did get anything new, like you got to take care of that.
Yeah,
It's got to
yeah,
last you for a long time, So I'm not, I still have that sort of in me. So
Yeah.
I'm not one to get something brand new and immediately cut into it, right?
Right.
So it's got to work. I'm getting better at that, but I'd much prefer getting a deal on something. I think that's why usually what I find and what I promote, I try to make sure that it's accessible, like money wise,
Yeah.
so that it would take away that fear from cutting into it, and also it's not like something you're gonna spend a lot of money. I have done a few posts where it's like, look at this perfect thing. It's $1,000. Don't buy it. Like, please. Like, and I'm like, Instagram, who do you think you're sending this ad to? I got money like that, I don't got money like that. Like most of my, anyway.
Yeah.
But it's there, and
Right.
I feel like, well, maybe this will help somebody. Like somebody's
Sure.
got this kind of money,
Right.
right? And somebody's got to be into it, and I know that there is. So anyway, that's. But I try to make it accessible. I try to keep it at a good price point so that it's accessible, but then also if you were to want to cut into it.
Yeah. What's your
don't feel
favorite
so
piece that you have now? What would you say is like your favorite piece to have or wear?
My favorite is, I have to say my Gabber jacket,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Oh yeah. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
it's beautiful. Like it's beautiful.
And you were like one of the last bastions when they had to cut like
I
commission
think I
too.
was, and there's and I know that there was a long list behind me, because that list of commissions, like I think I was like number 3 on that list. So I don't know why it was cut off, but I'm glad that I got in.
Yeah.
When I did. Yeah.
I definitely want to
It is.
reach out to Gabber and ask if they could be on the show too, because I think they would have a lot of insight on the costuming world and all that stuff. Oh my goodness! Like I have
amazing.
I have the smuggler's poncho, and that's so fun to wear. It's so fun to wear.
Oh yeah.
If I could wear it regularly, like a like a daily bound, I would try to do it. But it's mostly like when I'm at Disneyland or at a con, and I get stopped. People really like it, so I think they're great.
Yeah.
That's
I put it on here, and this is my rationale, right? Is that, well, I'm in England now, right? So I'm like, oh, maybe they're wear cloaks and capes more here or something, right? They don't. I'm looking at a bunch of people right now, they're all in bubble hoodies. Like, but I wear it when it's raining, and I'm like, well, that's a pass, right?
Yeah.
To wear something that's like, a poncho,
Yeah.
I know it's not built for the rain, but it deflects the rain, well enough. So I do wear it. I do take every opportunity. Like, oh, it's raining. I'll run to the store. Yeah, I'm gonna run to the store real quick. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, I gotta go out for mail. Let me just throw it on really quick and just. Gotta take the garbage out. Gotta wear the jacket. Gotta get your money's worth.
It's raining. It's sprinkling out there. It's sprinkling. I don't want to get wet.
No, it's beautiful.
Yeah, she would be
it's
good.
beautiful. Yeah.
She would be good. She would be good on the show. But I think other than that, I think right now my favorite piece is those new boots that I got.
Yeah, those are
They
some
weren't
nice
even
boots.
that much. I think they were like $40. Like, I mean, come on, for boots.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even. I got them for Christmas. My wife got them for me. Well, I nudged. This is what I want.
This thing,
I
baby.
would like one of these, please. That was the one that I asked for. There's always one that you ask for, right?
Of course.
but they're incredible. They're super comfy. Look,
Nice.
it's not an advertisement or anything like that, but they're super comfy. They're so dope. Like, I don't want to wear anything except for those boots. I never was a boot guy until this all started, right? And that was it. I think that was the last step that I took, was like, okay, I'm doing all this like daily stuff. I finally got to break down and get some boots. I got some Chelsea boots, of course, right?
Yeah.
I got another pair of boots that I thought were cool, and then those, like, that's. I find it hard when I'm building like a color story. Like, oh, if I'm doing like all gray, I have gray boots, but I'm like, what about the brown ones?
Yeah.
All gray and brown boots. I don't care, right? Who cares? I find it really hard not to reach for those. Those are that's my absolute. I think I love them.
Yeah,
I love them so much.
you kind of have to. I mean, like, as a cosplayer, it's like you can't walk around in just tennis shoes with your stuff. It just throws everything off. It throws it off. But if you can find a decent pair and like they're comfortable, they look great, they fit like most of your costumes, then it's a buy. And for $40, you should buy a second pair, to be perfectly honest. Just
I do have a second. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. See, is a professional. You have to, because it's gonna wear down, and then they're gonna be out of stock, and then what do you do? So that would be a tip.
What do you do?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm having an issue for accessorizing is belts. Like, I don't personally, I don't want to just like buy just any belt, formal belt, and kind of hobble it together. Because you could, but I want I probably should just find someone who's making those smuggler plates that fit like on the top.
The buckles.
The buckles, yeah, because I'm sure people sell those. But that's the one that I struggle with finding the most.
Well, it depends. Like, it depends on the shape. If you're looking for something that's like rectangular, I got a couple links for you.
Talking to the right person.
We'll talk
offline.
Yeah.
I got a guy.
If you're looking for something that's a bit more like octagonal, like the Han Solo. I mean, he's not the only one that wears it, but like that sort of shape belt buckle. There's that's hard to find in the wild. You'd have to find somebody on Etsy that's doing it, or there was a short run where Rebel Base Creations, Rebel Base Creations, right? The guy that does all the oh my god.
There's so many great makers. There's so many great makers we follow.
Yeah, he's incredible. But he was doing, which he doesn't do anymore, and I hope he comes back around to it, but he was doing belt buckles, and he did like 20 in like a week. And then they were all gone, and he hasn't done one since. And I'm like, oh, should have gone.
Do another run. If you're watching Rebel Base, do another run.
I'll nudge him. Maybe I can nudge him into doing another set. But there are people that make them, and I know I've seen those on Etsy and stuff. So
yeah,
but yeah,
that's
a good one.
Where does so I want to talk about your merch. How did that all start? Because like you have the relics, you got T-shirts, you got stickers, you got patches.
Well, it all came from the design. It all came from that, double circle decoder.
The double. Yeah. I have that too. The sticker.
It all started with that. I'm looking at it right now because it's on my laptop. The clear sticker, and I did it in sort of stages because I was still trying to figure out like how does this fit. Right. With me, I'm always trying to find a way to make something in that universe. I don't want something from that universe. I want to be in that universe. I want to create something that could live in that universe. Right. So I took two inspirations. Right. And this is what I boiled it down to. And it's like from my youth, a cereal box decoder ring. Right.
Yeah.
Double ring, and then also like the long storied history of prop masters and prop builders in the Star Wars movies using camera parts. Right. So I took those two things and I smashed them together. Right.
Oh.
And that's where the decoder design came from.
Got it.
Sort of
Yeah,
a
yeah,
mix
yeah.
of those two things. But I couldn't, so I made the clear sticker, and I was like, how does this now exist in the universe, right? And through ideation, through iterations, I finally came to that design, which feels like a camera ring,
Yeah.
like an aperture ring. And I was like, this now feels like it's in universe. And what I wanted to do was like, this is a piece of a larger device. This is something that fell off of broke off of a some other kind of device, some communication device, some kind of tracking device, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And that's the story of it, is that my character, my original character, found this relic, and I'm trying to sort of build a connective tissue, and this is what I'm hoping for. Wait, what's the name of that show? The one with the new one that's gonna come out, Skeleton Crew,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
And during Ahsoka, I was like, oh, please, please, please let there be some connective tissue between the Earth and that galaxy, right? Please let there be, because I was like, because then that's it.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then the relic is cemented, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because the whole idea was that this was on a device, this was a dial on a device in a world where they spoke the same language, but their characters were different, right? So this isn't. I know people use this to decode Aurebesh, but the idea of the relic is that someone from the Star Wars universe is trying to read Earth
Earthling.
signage.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. Yeah, yeah. That's so
That
cool.
was, yeah. Anyway,
I love
I'm
that.
hoping there's some sort of connective tissue at some point, because then that would cement it. But yeah, that's how I came up with that,
That's awesome.
and then
I,
everything else from there.
yeah, yeah. The relic has been great because I love when people are taking it and like telling their own stories with it. I think it's
Yeah.
fantastic. I know as like you're a storyteller, so I know you appreciate those posts the most.
Absolutely.
I wish and I had an idea and there was so much going on when I was in Thailand last. I was like I wanted to do like, oh, I found this here like randomly or like in a cool shot, but when I go back again I'll have to do it because I seen some pretty cool like, oh, it's been to France, it's been to the one Niamos, who was it who posted it, one of them
McCluckles.
yes, he was at like where they shot it and he took a picture of the relic there. That was so cool. I love that. What is on this creative journey that you've been on, we talked about all the good things that have been happening. Any struggles that you've been dealing with, like with social media and using this creativity and this storytelling?
I've been fortunate. I think it's partly because I'm a man, but I've been fortunate to like not have too much like negativity come my way. It's not very much the case for not very much the case for women, not very
Yeah.
much the case for people in other communities.
Right.
I think the most negativity I think I see is surrounding whenever a new show, new movie comes out, like that like vitriol that is immediate and like so visible, I think it's just always a drag,
Yeah.
Like it feels so ugly. It feels so I don't know. It's so it's vitriolic.
Yeah.
It just feels so bad.
Yeah. And I think it's just, I don't know. It's just people just like to complain about stuff and be mad about things, I feel like. And I mean, I grew up with the original trilogy, but I was there when everyone hated the prequels, and now everybody loves the prequels now. And I'm like, everyone hates the sequels. I'm like, okay, we'll get to that point where everyone loves the sequel trilogy. Like, I'll just wait it out.
I think the timeline is 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
They'll come around.
Yeah, because there'll be kids who grow up with that stuff like they did with the prequels. What's your favorite? I'll put you on the spot now. What's your favorite Star Wars movie?
Favorite movie? Star Wars.
That little franchise, Star Wars.
Yeah, that one. I like that. You know what? I'm gonna say it just because I love the era and I love the texture. Rogue One,
Rogue
right?
One? Yeah.
Rogue One is incredible.
Yeah.
I love the texture of it. I think that was the very first time we ever saw like market street food, which is like really like I love that texture. I love that ground level stuff. This goes back to like Burgundy Squadron. Like this goes
Yeah.
back. Like I love that. Like seeing the smaller parts of this wider world,
Yeah.
right? That make it feel much more real. Like some guy in some guy in black armor with a laser sword on a spaceship. Like that's so cool, you know.
Yeah.
But I can't relate to that. Like I don't know anything about that, you know. Like I can't. Amazing. I mean, who doesn't love it, right?
Yeah.
Who doesn't love it, right? But like I've never seen anything like that, you know. But I have seen a market with like street food and stuff like that. That makes it feel like I could be there, and that's my
Right.
obsession, wanting to be there. So, of the oof, this is such a hot button topic.
Yeah.
Of the main saga, of the main saga,
It's your favorite. It doesn't have to be the best. Who cares?
I think. I don't know. Maybe Return of the Jedi. Maybe it would have to be original trilogy. Like
Return of the Jedi
it's
is my
just
favorite. Yeah.
it's what I grew up with. That's what brought me in. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
the very first movie I ever remember watching.
Oh wow.
You know that time when you're a little kid and then all of a sudden like memories start forming. Like
Yeah.
I remember like I remember sitting on the floor. I don't even remember being able like I don't know like I must have been really really young.
Yeah.
You know. And I remember sitting on the floor in front of the screen and my mind was blown. And the first movie I ever saw was Empire. I didn't even
Oh,
whoa!
wow.
I didn't even watch them in order. I think the first
Fake
movie I
fan.
ever
Fake
watched.
fan.
I know, fake fan. I watched it. I didn't even watch it in order. I think that was the very first movie I ever watched.
Yeah.
And then Jedi came out, and that was like super formative because of like the Ewoks, and I would
Yeah.
make my mom play like the Ewok song on a record.
That's awesome.
Over and over again. And you know how that is. Like, you can't put it on repeat. That's somebody's
Right.
got to go and put it back
the
on the
needle.
thing
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
put it back on the thing. You got to keep moving the needle, right? So, I mean, yeah, original trilogy. But I will say, like, the prequels, I think it was during my dark period. I think I wasn't really... there was a point in time where I wasn't really super into Star Wars,
Same.
and I think that was that time, but I still, I did watch them,
Yeah.
and I was blown away by them. I was like, we're back,
Yeah.
And I think that kind of brought me back in, and the sequels I liked.
I like the sequels. Yeah.
Kind of loved them.
Yeah.
I kind of love them.
Yeah. I mean, we
Sorry.
can't have Andor without what's going on with Disney. Like, people are like, oh, Disney this, Disney that. I'm like, well, we wouldn't have it if we wouldn't have it. And I thought, and to be perfectly honest, after episode 3, I thought Star Wars was done and over. Like, we got 3,
Right.
There was talks of sequels, but who knows? And I was just like, I thought it was gone.
Of course.
I thought it was gone, but came back rearing its ugly little head again.
Now look
Out of
where
the
we
trash
are.
compactor, like looking for something.
I love it all. I can find way more positives out of every
100%.
single thing that I've watched than anything else. I like to say, like, there are some that I maybe like more than others.
Of course.
But I haven't seen a single thing that I've hated.
Right. Yeah. And there's
It's not
always
me.
something to glean and something to take out of these. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Solo, but I watched it like literally yesterday, and I'm like, oh, there's some stuff in here. There's some stuff in here.
Stuff in there, yeah.
There's some stuff in here. So I really like. It's better to have content than no content. It's better
Absolutely.
to have something than nothing. Because if we don't get anything, we're just going to be starving for, like we did after the sequels. We're like, everyone's into all that canon stuff and maybe video games, but It's been really great to be a Star Wars fan lately, for sure.
I think so.
And we have Galaxy's Edge.
Incredible. Which I think exploded like the not only did more people become interested in cosplay, but I think more people became interested in building their own characters, you know?
Yeah.
So I snuck in right there. Actually, the first time I ever went to Galaxy's Edge was the day we were leaving Orlando, right? Because I went to Walt Disney World and we did all of the parks. The night before we were getting on the plane to fly back home, people were talking about the lockdown. Like, we might have to go into lockdown for 14 days.
Oh, so this was pre-COVID, right before they
10 to 14. Right before the shutdown.
Oh, wow.
Right before. Like, it was announced that night. We might have to go into
Yeah.
a little bit of shutdown.
Just a little what? Just 2 weeks, couple weeks.
Yeah, I got in there right before all of that. And even then, like, it was so early on because I think it had opened in October and I went in February.
Okay.
I think the Disneyland one had opened a few months before that, so because that was the first one to open. And then the Orlando one opened. That's my home park, so I just went to that one. And I wanted to go to Epcot. But went to that one, and I think it had only been open since October, so it had been open for less than 6 months.
Yeah.
And there wasn't. I obviously went in a bound. It was horrible, right?
Of course. First ones are always the worst.
I mean, what I didn't know, I just didn't know. But I did go, and I was like, nobody else is doing this. Like, what? Like, I was like, oh no. I was like a little bit self-conscious. I was no one else is doing this. Like, no one else is dressing up. But the people at the park, the cast members, were all like, they were very keen to like get into a conversation or ask me about what I had on and all that stuff because so few now you can't move for somebody bounding, so it's like that's great. I think that really helped.
Yeah. So did you have plans not to go to Galaxy's Edge? Like, it wasn't part of your itinerary to when you were there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I went for that. I mean, I packed.
Okay.
I made a hardware store lightsaber before it. Like, I took my I made my mom dress up. I made her a bunch of stuff to wear. Like, I was like, no, we're going and we're going.
Yeah.
I was like, if you don't dress up, you're not going.
We bound in this family.
Yeah, if you don't dress up, you're not going. I'll leave you in this hotel.
That's awesome.
She did the whole thing as well. She had a great time. But there wasn't that many people doing it then. So I was a little self-conscious, but there were, here and there. Sure. I did see one person who was like Han Solo'd out. I mean, looked exactly, just, perfect. And I was like, okay, this is the real stuff, Yeah.
No, I love even though people are like, oh, I want to dress up like a character, it does force you kind of in an OC way, right? Original character, because like they don't want you to be Han Solo and people coming up to you and taking pictures of you as Han Solo. You're not a cast member, you're not getting paid by Disney, liability and things like that. But I like that you're like, oh, I have to kind of think outside the box and I have to kind of figure out my own thing to do. And I love that when I was dressed up, the interaction with like when you go on Rise of the Resistance, the Empire treats you in a different way if you're wearing Rebel stuff.
Yeah,
and it's just and if you guys haven't done it, you guys have to you got to dress up when you go. You can't not dress up. And if you don't even have stuff, buy stuff there. They got like robes and cloaks now and everything. But yeah, it's a different experience than I think you would get anywhere else, really. Because even at conventions, it's not like that at all.
No.
And so they have something special.
There's someone in character that is going to number one, it is their job to usher these people along, right. and if part of the story is you are being captured and now you're dressed up as well, like you know, it makes their job a bit more fun.
Yeah.
They're cast members for a reason because they're all there to play a part, and like I'm sure, you know, it enhances everything.
Yeah, it's fun for everybody. I know you touched on it a little bit, but do you have any like big dreams, big goals for what Burgundy Squad will be, or what you're trying to do and what you're trying to create?
I'd like to. Well, I guess the big the big dream would be, the big dream would be, there's a new production and we need like background like denizens, like you know,
Yeah.
similar to how like the 501st they'll have a bunch of stormtroopers, you know, things like that. I mean, that would be the dream. Right?
Yeah.
I think that would be like if we somehow became the go-to background scene people, like because a lot of times it's like you have to come dressed to those things. You're an extra. They don't have money to dress everybody unless you're in a pivotal scene or actually have speaking parts. Even if it's a minor character, they will do costume work for you. But if it's a big crowd scene or anything like that, like that would be the dream.
Yeah, you're just like, let's call Burgundy Squadron, let's call Billy. Hey, Billy, can you get like 10 people? You're like, done and done.
We're in.
We got our own boots. We're good.
We got boots for days. We'll bring extra. Who needs boots?
Who needs boots? Who needs boots?
Who needs boots? Hayden, you got boots?
You got boots?
I got boots for you. Oh no, they got you. They got you.
Ewan,
boots.
you good?
All right,
you good, Ewan? Okay, we're good.
you got boots?
What size are you? What size are you?
I got boots. The boot guy. No, yeah. No, that would be cool. That would be amazing. I think that would be the dream.
Yeah.
I think smaller scale, I think, is to continue to grow it, continue to grow that community. I'd like to see a wider variety of characters. I'm currently like, it's in the sort of back burner, but like, or not really in the back burner. I'm like working on it, but I haven't really shown too much of it. But I want to do just a lowly merchant denizen. You know what I mean? And so I'd like to see more of that. Like I'd like to see more people bringing different characters to Burgundy Squadron, so that it becomes that hub for like, oh, we can have market people, we could have a band of rebels, we could have anyway. And everything that comes with that. I think, I don't know how to go about it, but obviously you would need to be recognized by Lucas Films and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how to go about that just yet, but I will at some point. And I think those are the short-term goals for that long-term goal.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it be amazing if we got that call?
Yeah. We got to speak it to existence. We got to manifest it.
Yeah.
We got to manifest it. No, I love that. I was thinking too, it'd be cool. Like, you know how they'd like do meetups or conventions. I was like, it'd be cool to have like a Burgundy Squad hosted thing, but instead of a convention, it just becomes like almost a flea market Etsy where you're dealing like with the wares that you have, and but we have to come dressed up and all that. That would be kind of cool. That would be super cool.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Or just take everyone to like space dive or something.
Yeah,
that would be incredible.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
There's so much cool stuff out there right now, and I love this group. I got to get back into posting some outfits. Just been kind of a slow go. I was like, I got a lot of stuff. I got a lot of clothes already. It's hard to keep.
Yeah. Well, look, I really haven't picked, unless it's something that's like those boots that we've been joking, but like those boots, unless it's something that's like, whoa, I can't live without this, right? Now I'm just remixing my wardrobe. Like,
right.
I think what I'm having fun with now is dreaming up different combinations of things that I have, because I feel like I have enough to build a lot of different costumes. So
Yeah.
I think I'm having fun with the remixing of it all. That's why I've been doing kind of color stories. So like a lot of like my captions are like rebel in browns,
Yeah.
rebel in greens, rebel in sandtones, and that's all like that's just stuff I have,
Yeah.
you know. So I think I'm
I
having fun with the remixing of that.
My favorite was when you did the rebels in blue. You're like, you don't see anybody in blue, and then you're like, oh, I have the blue outfit.
Yeah.
How do you scout the places you're going to shoot, by the way? Because that's something I get self-conscious about, because I'm like, I would love to take a picture here, but
Yeah.
I don't know how anyone would feel if I'm in this parking garage, taking pictures.
Okay, so here's I'm gonna say two things about that, right? I think the best locations are parking garages, right?
Yeah.
I think they're incredible because
Yeah.
any little corner, and you've got something that could fit in, but it doesn't feel like it's like in a room or anything.
Right,
even
right.
though I do lots of
Sure.
that stuff. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
literally where I've been shooting right there. This like for the last 3 months. So if you can find a car park, car park, a parking garage. Sorry, I'm in the UK now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I moved across the pond. Can you speak to the American audience, please?
If you can find a parking garage, right? I think that's like there's just so much cool. Like they're all brutalist, first of all, because they're all made of just concrete,
Right,
right?
right.
So you have a lot of like support beams and things like that like you think is like decorative. It isn't. It's literally just to hold the thing up, right? So that's what I'll say. Parking garage. If you can find a sleepy, seldom used one where you kind of have like free reign, try to do that. Towards the end of when I was working at my old job in the States, I found a parking garage that was always empty. Always empty. It was my playground, right? I didn't shoot. I would shoot. I would go to work. I would shoot in the bathroom because they have great lights, right? And then after work, I would go and I'd shoot in this parking garage. I'd just pop in, a couple shots, boom, 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 and leave, right? So do that. Number two is, I think we're always thinking like, oh, what is somebody else gonna think
Yeah, yeah.
if they see this, right? Guess what? Everybody's thinking the same thing,
Sure.
right? So they're walking around like, oh, what if somebody sees me with this grocery bag? Oh, what if somebody like sees me like with these shoes I got? Like no one's paying attention to anything,
Right.
So I think just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think do it, own it, and the more you do it, then you're just gonna be like, well, who cares? Right?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And as far as locations,
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, I always look for brutalist stuff, right? If I'm gonna shoot in front of like a building or go to like a place where I have to like go in costume, like I'm looking for something that's worth it.
Yeah.
Right? In case I can only get a couple shots, then it's like at the very least there's like this cool building behind me, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you have like, do you bring a tripod? Because I know last time you recommended, I actually have it on here on my desk, the little the foldable
That's all I
little
use.
tripod. Okay. Yeah, this thing is awesome. I have it on my desk to hold it's all tied up in cables. I can't show it to the
I
camera.
have mine right there. I have mine behind me. Yeah, that's what I use. I use that for the indoor shots, for anything. And then the little like clicker. You can get them from
Oh, right, to take the picture. Yeah.
It just links up Bluetooth to your phone, and then you can just shoot away. That I think is integral for like any location shoot, even a sleepy parking lot, like because then you can get really cool shots where you're really far away, and just
Right.
click.
Yeah, because that was one thing I was having trouble with when I would do mine. I was like, okay, I'd have to walk all the way to my phone, click the selfie, take this picture in 10 seconds, and then come back. So that's actually a great tip for people who want to take pictures. Yeah, here I pulled it out.
Yeah,
So this
you
thing right
have
here.
to have the little. Yeah, that's the one I have. Yeah, that's the one I have.
I'm a fan, Billy. I'm a fan, man. When you say something to buy, I'm gonna get it. I'm usually I consider it's on my Amazon wish list.
Definitely that little clicker, you got to get it because then it becomes really easy. It's really responsive too. So like as when you click it, it's gonna shoot, and it allows you to like sort of like move slightly.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, I think this is gonna be really cool, just take like three real quick,
Yeah.
you know,
I
you
love
never
that.
know
I
if you
love that.
blink, or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. One last
Yeah.
question. I thought about it. I actually had two, but I wanted to ask, how did the shooting and production of Burgundy Squadron story, how that all went? Because like I know that was all like Disney doesn't want you guys to film things. It was you, Kate, and Victor and Revel, like you guys doing that whole thing. And
Yeah.
it was a great video.
Oh, I didn't know they didn't want us to film stuff. Number one. So just straight up guerrilla
Yeah,
shooting,
yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing. So we did go May 4th.
Right.
So
right.
maybe there was a little more like leeway about like taking photos and
Sure.
taking video. I will say that I've got a good I've got like a little bit of a superpower of taking just random disparate clips and being able to weave them into a story. So while I was there, I was just grabbing a shot here, grabbing a shot here. Oh, maybe we're meeting up here, maybe
Yeah.
we're meeting up there, without much of a concrete story, except for like we're operatives and we're meeting. That was the loose sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
It's so busy, and there's so many other people, you kind of just have to shoot. Also, like what I want to do when I go to Galaxy's Edge is shoot.
Okay. Okay.
Like the rides are great. Like let's sit down for a drink. Sure. Like what I want to do is shoot. Right.
Yeah.
But that was my first time meeting these people, and I didn't want to be like, okay, now stand there. Okay, now do this.
I didn't think
Okay, now
about that.
run
You're
over
like,
there.
hey, I'm Billy.
Yeah.
Let's actually film something.
Walk that way. Like, look back at me. Look back at me. Be suspicious. Be suspicious. Right. It's my first time meeting these people, even though you've seen them.
Yeah,
online
talk to them. Yeah.
Interact with them, but I didn't also want to be like, okay,
Yeah.
now you're mine. Like you're like you stand over there. You stand over there, and be serious.
You're like, I'm Burgundy 1. You guys fall in line.
There is one clip, I think it was later in the day, where I was like shouting. I wasn't shouting at him, but at Midrim, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I think I uploaded it at some point, but I was like, walk with purpose. Walk with purpose. And I just kept saying, walk with purpose. They were like,
yeah, I remember that.
good. This is great. This is great. So
I love that.
But even that, like, that's all that I have is
Yeah.
that little clip. Like, you just drop the audio off of it, and then you put some cool music
Yeah.
on it, and then all of a sudden, walking with purpose, right? And then you weave that into a story somehow. So that's how that.
That's
how that
awesome.
happens.
That's so great. I love that. I mean, that's one of my dreams is like to do short film. Like I have so many friends who love Star Wars, who love, who've possibly been in the movie side, and they're just like, it's that, oh, like we don't have that $1 million budget. Like, how are we going to do this? And, just planning it all. Like it would be so much fun. And I think those May the 4th, those Star Wars days, and they do it all month now, apparently for this year, where it's like, it'd be so cool to go. I don't have any plans to go this year. Do you have any plans to come back to the States to do any of that stuff, or even Star Wars Celebration 2025 Japan maybe?
I don't know if that's well. I don't know. I'm not gonna put that out. I do know that the tickets go on sale on May 2nd.
Yeah,
and I am not buying a ticket. That's all that I will say about that, right? Whether it happens or whether something happens, I don't know.
Yeah.
When I go back to the States, I want to see if maybe there's somehow to do like a bit of a meetup or something, or something for a shoot.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. That's what I always want to do. Get a bunch of people together and like take cool pictures, right?
Yeah.
And enough so that we all have like for the next year. Right?
Yeah, that's always the goal. Content, like more content.
Exactly, right? I'll cut and recut that same clip. I'm gonna cut and recut that same clip. So I think that's that would be a goal. I definitely do have to go visit. my dear old ma.
Oh, right.
So once I jump over there, I'll see if anything else that can happen. You know,
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
And last thing, any tips for anyone who would want to be a content creator or wants to get into a space of creating? Anything you want to pass down to the younglings?
I think we all watch stuff, we all consume stuff, right? I think find your voice. This is what I'll say. Find your voice and your audience will find you. I think it's okay to like emulate or something like that, but like I think authenticity leads to longevity. I think if you are yourself as much as you can, like I think that translates much more to whoever your audience is, your viewer, your follower, all of that. You know, I think since it's become a career, I think people can jump on and be like, I don't know, kind of do the things that they've seen work, without understanding that at some point was the new thing, right? And then the next person that blows up is because they did a new thing, right? So it's never in like copying or emulating. I think it's always in people respond to authenticity, I think.
I agree. Billy, it's been such a pleasure to have you on and talk to
Thank you so much.
It's been great. I think you're a wonderful storyteller.
So fun.
We're gonna have to do this again because there's so many more questions that I have that people would love. I'd be like, we got to ask Billy more questions. Everyone submit your questions because I think you're
you let me know, I'm here.
You're a fountain of knowledge, and I love the creativity. I think we line up when to talk about storytelling and making OCs, and you've really made something special with this community. Under your Instagram, under Burgundy Squadron, I know that we love Star Wars, but I think you're beloved for forming this group, and it means a lot to me. It's affected my life so much, just having you go, hey, I'm going to be the guy who wears cosplay every day. I'm like, me too. I'm going to be that guy. I want to be that guy too.
Yes.
So that's why
there's more of us.
Yeah.
If there's more of us, then it becomes normal. Right?
Yeah, it'll become a thing. Yeah, and like you said, people aren't really looking, so it's just have fun with it. Just have fun with it, and I thank you so much for your time, and I can't wait to have you on again. But with that being said, thank you again, audience members, for sitting in on this wonderful interview with MakerMaddox. Follow him and everything. I'm going to put the descriptions below. Anything you want to promote? Anything else you have in the works?
Just come check out what I'm doing on Instagram. Yeah. That's my home right now, so
yeah,
come and check that out.
Perfect. Same. Well, that being said, folks, you guys have a wonderful galactic day. Punch it, Chewie. Boom! Burgundy Squad out.